Last mile logistics. The space has changed drastically over the years, and that's also thanks to all you folks buying stuff from e commerce websites and other such places. A pioneer in this space is Mahindra Logistics because the focus is to bring a 360-degree approach to the entire value chain, and that too with zero emissions, thanks to EDeL.
So I think EDeL's been pretty successful for us thus far. I think if we step back, last mile logistics is the largest part of logistics across the entire system in terms of cost and kind of customer convenience. And at Mahindra's, we really believe that last mile can be electrified. So in early 2021, when we started EDeL, we had a plan to kind of add up nearly 3,000 vehicles over 3 years. And it's just not about adding the fleet, it was really about creating a risk-sharing model with our customers, where we could actually provide variable services and solutions to them. 1 year onwards, I think we feel really good about where we are. We have nearly 700 vehicles now. We have another 300 on order, so we have a 1,000 vehicle fleet nearly across 14 cities. We've got a complete tech stack which is implemented. We have clocked more than 8 million kilometers. Which are carbon-free and sustainable. And I think most importantly, we've not had even a single accident till now. So overall, I think we've been really happy about the progress.
So EDeL, which has the trio Zor, which you see here in this lineup, operating in 14 major cities in India. And this includes cities like Bengaluru, Delhi, Chennai, Mumbai, and more. And that's not the end of it, because the clear path to expansion is to add more cities to the kitty to cater to the growing need of last mile logistics in tier 2 and tier 3 cities.
Our ramp up still is to get around 3,000 vehicles, and probably we might be able to get there as things stand even earlier than the window we had predicted initially. So right now we are at 14 cities, and we're probably going to around 20 cities over the next 12 months. And then within the tier 2 and tier 3 cities we are in, we actually see a significant opportunity to expand the fleet. A couple of months ago, we acquired another last mile delivery business called Wizard, based in Hyderabad. And they have a very significant tier 2, tier 3 presence. So we think that will actually help us scale this up a lot faster. Tier 2 and tier 3 cities present a challenge in terms of infrastructure. It's a greater challenge than tier 1 cities. So we've actually had to invest our own money in building infrastructure in those cities. But I think thus far, the conversion is actually pretty good. And we've gone beyond traditional e-commerce categories like small pack to actually going into grocery. We have now gone into supporting manufacturing companies on their vendor managed inventory and just-in-time deliveries. So I think the categories are also expanding.
Given the expansion, there is need for storage as well, and warehousing then presents a big challenge given the spaces available in cities, especially one which also provides charging infrastructure.
Yeah, so we right now today run around 20 million square feet of warehousing, and really what we are hearing today is actually one of the smallest ones you will see, right? So these go up to around, in the north we are building a facility which is 1.5 million square feet, right? So these are large facilities. They're all sustainable. They are IGBC or LEED certified facilities. They're all solar powered. They all have EV charging facilities on them. And the idea, I think, for us has been to build a network across the country, right? So we can actually be less than 200 kilometers from every major consumption point with our own footprint. We have right now got only 6 million square feet, which is contracted across cities. And I think similar to what we talked about in EDeL, I think that's going away from tier 1 as well. So now we are going to Guwahati, we're going to Patna, we're going to Lucknow, Coimbatore. So that expansion, I think, continues to be a big focus area, because I think fulfillment logistics in India still remains a significant growth lever.
But there's a lot more riding on warehousing, and that's where Mahindra Logistics is aiming for a revenue mark of 3,000 crore rupees in the next 4 to 5 years.
We really said that we want to have integrated solutions at around 30% of our business, right? And that is a combination of warehousing-based services, a facility like this, which is a warehouse, plus its delivery from the warehouse to an end customer, right? And that solutions business has been growing really well. I mean, last quarter, on a year-on-year business, solution revenues grew by 34%. right? And we've been kind of north of 20% kind of growth rates now for the last 4-5 quarters. So, so obviously there's some runway to go, but we still feel pretty confident about our ability to deliver that. I think what's important is I think clients really want to avoid trying to do all the individual pieces now. More and more of our customers are kind of trying to focus on dealing with their own challenges in terms of how they make and sell products. And so they are actually keen on saying that can we work with a partner who can actually do this end to end for us, right? And can actually give us guaranteed performance and outcomes. And that's kind of where we like to step in and kind of show our value.
At the center of it all, though, sits the Mahindra Trio Zohr, which is used by the delivery partners to ensure that the product is delivered on time and with no carbon footprints.
Yes, I think electric is very core to our mobility business and our last mile cargo business, right? And I would say over the next 4-5 years, we expect to electrify almost all the fleets which we operate on. The challenges I think we have is 3 or 4-fold. The first one is having enough asset categories. As you know, right now we are dominantly a 3-wheeler industry from an OEM perspective. And so the one key challenge is how do we get to 4-wheelers, how do we get about 2 tons, to around 4 or 5 tons. We are in talks with several OEMs, obviously to kind of see how product lines will support that. The second big challenge obviously is the ecosystem, right? We actually have to get the right charging infrastructure, we have to get the right capabilities on the ground. And the third thing obviously is you have to work much more closely with clients on the way you solution it. An ICE product is a very flexible product in some ways, right? Whereas an EV product, till all the infrastructure is in, until battery swapping, etc., happens in a widespread way, we actually have to work closely on the use cases and how the network operates. But that's part of the value which we bring to the table, right? So we do believe, I think EVs in India are going to hit an inflection point on cargo over the next 24 months. I think once we get a 2-ton plus product, I think they're just going to see a significant scale up in terms of EV penetration.
A lot will change in the coming years in the EV logistics space, and that's mainly because of the developments happening even internationally. With bigger capacity EVs coming in and the demand growing, the horizons are wider than ever.